Hi you guys, it's Monday and y'all know what that means. It's going to be another episode to our Crypto 101 series, and today we're going to be talking about digital signatures. And you're going to need digital signatures literally for any transactions dealing with crypto, so you might as well learn what it is. But before we get started, welcome back to Getting Digital with Deja. Gone over how to send and receive Bitcoin and other crypto coins on your wallet. So now we're going to go over how a digital signature plays a part in all of that. So we're going to be referring to Bitcoin for this video, but a lot of the crypto coins act exactly the same. When you want to send Bitcoin, your wallet creates a transaction and then sends it to a node on the Bitcoin network, which then broadcasts it to the other nodes within the network. And broadcast literally just means like shows or like give them the information. Like think of like a TV show where like they're broadcasting information to the public. That's exactly what a node is going to be doing to the rest of the nodes in the Bitcoin network. But when you initiate a Bitcoin transaction, you have to prove to every node on the network that you are authorized to go ahead and do that transaction. That this Bitcoin is actually your Bitcoin that you are able to spend and that it's not fraudulent. So the only way to make sure that it's yours is a digital signature. Before you can even submit your transaction to the Bitcoin network, you have to have that digital signature attached to your transaction. So a digital signature is essentially used to show that you, the person who is trying to send the Bitcoin, knows and has access to the private keys that is associated with that Bitcoin address without showing your private key to the Bitcoin network. So it's a way of showing like, hey, this is mine. I know the private keys. I know all the information and things that go with this account, that go with this address, this Bitcoin address, but I'm not going to show you my private key so you can have proof of it. I'm just going to submit a digital signature with my transaction. Okay, so remember, when you're doing a transaction with Bitcoin, a transaction is literally just a message that they're sending out to the other nodes that has like the sender's address, your address, how many Bitcoin, the timestamp, and things like that. It doesn't have any necessarily personal information. It's literally just a message that is broadcasted to these nodes. Okay, so all of these nodes are like people and entities that have access to this information. So you do not want to show this Bitcoin network your private key, because remember, if anyone has access to your private key, they have access to your wallet, and you don't want that. You have a whole network of Bitcoin nodes. You don't want all of those nodes knowing your private key information. That is how you can get hacked. That is very dangerous. It's unsecure in so many ways. So that's why they have digital signatures. It's proof that you know your private key information and everything like that without showing them the key itself. So you might be wondering, if you don't show your private key, how do they know that this digital signature isn't fraudulent as well? How do they know that this digital signature belongs to the primary holder, the only holder of this crypto address? Well, I have an answer for you. It's known as asymmetric cryptography and hashing. So let's go over the textbook definition and the process of asymmetric cryptography and hashing. It is a little bit long, so stay with me, you guys. The message/transaction is first hashed into a unique fingerprint, aka a string. Then the sender's private key encrypts this hash, creating the signature which is sent with the message. The receiver uses the sender's public key to decrypt the hash and rehashes the original message, verifying authenticity and integrity if the hashes match without revealing the private key. So that definition maybe made no sense, and you can't even put like 2 and 2 together because it's like mumbo jumbo mama. Okay, so we're going to go over encryption now so you can understand how all of this works together to make asymmetric cryptography. In order to truly grasp the concept of a digital signature, you have to first understand how encryption works and understand that encryption is a major component in cryptography and just crypto itself. So in crypto, encryption is used to basically protect the privacy of a message / a transaction. Because remember I said earlier, a transaction is literally just a message with the order details, I guess you could say, sent to the nodes on the network. So it's using this encryption to make sure that the message and all the details inside of it only is able to be read by the recipient, by the intended person that is supposed to be read by. That's the only person who will be able to decipher this information, and that is because of encryption. So let's go over the textbook definition of encryption. It's the process of transforming data like readable text, referred to as plain text, using an algorithm called a cipher to make it unreadable to anyone except those possessing special knowledge, referred to as a key. The result of this process is encrypted text, referred to as ciphertext. Okay? Now let's go over the definition that I put for it. In most basic terms, encryption means using fancy math and a set of instructions followed by a computer, which is an algorithm, to disguise and protect the data. Once the data is encrypted using the algorithm, you can't interpret it or guess the original context of the data from the ciphertext. Why can't you do that? Because it's hashed. Now, I really hope you guys remember what hashing was, because I did a whole little episode about that. So if you don't know it, go watch it and then come back. So in order for encryption to work in cryptography, it's going to need decryption side by side. So basically, in order for a message to be encrypted, it has to be decrypted by the receiver to be able to understand what's in the message so the transaction can go through. So now let's go over the textbook definition of decryption. So it's the process of converting encrypted text to plain text, basically the reverse of encryption, used to decrypt the ciphertext so that only the person who is supposed to access and read the message can be the only ones who accesses and reads the message. Okay? So there's two parts to this: encrypting to make it unreadable, and then decrypting to make it readable to whoever is supposed to receive it. So now I'm going to show a picture to explain how this all works, okay? So the first step is plain text, which is AKA unencrypted message. That means the message has not been encrypted yet. Then it goes and it turns into an encryption key. And that encryption key makes the message now a ciphertext, which means an encrypted text. Now, that goes to a decryption key, which then makes that into a plain text. So it started off as a plain text and it's ending as a plain text. The only thing that's in between essentially is an encryption key and a decryption key. And the keys can be either identical, which means symmetric, or unique, which means asymmetric. So now let's go over the textbook definitions of symmetric encryption. Oh, that was a tongue twister. Of symmetric encryption and asymmetric encryption. Baby girl. Okay, so symmetric encryption. Textbook definition is: this type of encryption is reciprocal, meaning the same key is used to encrypt and decrypt data. So remember when I was saying you have an encryption key and a decryption key in the example that I just showed? Well, in this instance, the keys are the same. They have the same numbers, letters, everything. It's the same exact key, and it's just being used to be able to encrypt and decrypt these messages. Now, let's go into asymmetric encryption. That definition is: this type of encryption uses two separate keys for encryption and decryption. So, symmetric, same key; asymmetric, two different keys. So to make this easier to understand, essentially, if the sender and the receiver both use the same key to decrypt and encrypt data, that's going to be a symmetric encryption. Now, if the sender has a different key and the receiver has a different key to decrypt and the sender has a key to encrypt, that is going to mean asymmetric, okay? Because that means the sender and the receiver both have two separate keys. So in this instance, the keys are used to convert the message or the transaction from plain text, which means unencrypted, to ciphertext, which means encrypted, and then vice versa. It's going to be used to go from cipher encrypted text to unencrypted plain text. And remember, as we went over in my past videos, a key in cryptography is essentially just a long string of letters and numbers that are randomly generated and unique to this key. Think of it as like a digital fingerprint for this key. Only that key has that string of letters and numbers, okay? That's all a key is in this instance. It's nothing physical. It's not like something on your software or anything like that. No, it's literally like the keys that we've been talking about for this whole series. So it's time for a fun fact. So emails like Gmail, Yahoo, AOL, all that good stuff, they use asymmetric keys as well to be able to encrypt the contents of the email that's being sent. And then they use a digital signature. They digitally sign the message to be able to only have that email be sent to the recipient. If you're not on the recipient list of that email, you're not going to get the email. So it's just like, it's saving from that email's contents going all over the web and to different kind of people and things like that. And it's only going to the chosen person that it's supposed to go to. So if I sent an email to my teacher, there's a lot of encryption that goes behind that for it to only go to my teacher and for only my teacher to be able to read it and understand it. There's encryption, asymmetric encryption that goes behind that. And another fun fact, you guys, you got symmetric encryption, you got asymmetric encryption. Cryptography only uses one kind, and that's going to be asymmetric encryption. Alrighty, you guys, that's all I have for today's episode. I didn't want to put too much information in, so we're going to be talking about asymmetric encryption on my next video on Wednesday. So come tuned. I said come tuned. Come prepared. Oh, it said tune in and come prepared to take notes, okay? And you guys, I just want to say, for anybody who has been watching this series from the beginning, who has actually been like learning from this series, I do this for you. I do this for you, and I'm not going to stop doing this for you. We're going to keep it going, and I'm just so happy that you're sitting here and you're learning with me, and you're allowing me to be able to teach you something that is just so important to me, and really that's going to take over the world. And you're going to be prepared, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of us. We got this, okay? Much love to you, okay? But before I go, I want to remind you guys that pretty girls can do crypto too. See you Wednesday.